So basically this is kind of a continuation of my Instagram story. I've been sharing a little bit about how busy I've been at work. For those of you who do not know, I run a yoga studio in Dublin. I host yoga retreats throughout the year internationally and in Ireland. I also am trying to keep up with my YouTube, where I offer free online classes and these kind of lifestyle YouTube videos as well. So I kind of have quite a bit going on, and recently I was with my web designer guys, which is going live this week, and I realized how much I have going on. I'm juggling quite a lot of stuff at the moment work-wise, and then 2019 I feel is my year to get all of the goals I previously doubted I was able to do. I am so motivated, really since reading Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. Anyway, so basically things have gotten really busy in the studio, which I of course am not complaining about, but it really irritates me on social media the way people will go on about being really busy, and it's almost like people like to talk about being busy to boost their ego a little bit and to almost intimidate others into thinking, wow, they're really busy, which means they're really successful. It actually doesn't work that way, and I'd like to clear that up. Definitely that in Ireland, running a yoga studio, it's been the most rewarding experience, but money-wise, it's definitely difficult to make a lot of money, especially in such a small space that I have in the IFSC. But I would like to, rather than big myself up and go on about how busy I am and how much stress I'm under, just be honest. I think that's the most important thing for me, is to be honest on all of my platforms, and it's definitely worked so far. I feel like I've made so many more authentic connections with people, and actually have made friends from my channel because people see the real me, and I feel that's what's made my journey that bit more enjoyable for myself and for my followers. This video today is going to be sharing my top 5 tips for dealing with being overwhelmed at work. So a lot of us, obviously, whether you work for yourself or you work in an office for somebody else, in a high pressure job, in a low pressure job, I feel like we can get bogged down with, especially now, social media and all the projections that are made about other people's journeys and other people's jobs. I feel like we tend to get a little bit overwhelmed with the expectations and the judgments that we place upon ourselves and others. So today I'm hoping that these 5 tips are going to help you feel a little bit more like we're all on this journey together. I feel like it can be really hard to think rationally when you are exhausted and when you've bitten off more than you can chew. I feel it's a good thing to bite off more than you can chew. I feel like we underestimate ourselves and we sometimes fall short, we sometimes fail, but I feel there are definitely steps that you can take when you reach that overwhelmed state that you can take that will make the massive overload of work seem more manageable. So my first tip is stop comparing yourself. So I feel for me this is definitely a massive thing that I do. I'll be hitting my goals, I'll be hitting my numbers in the studio, I'll be smashing out my YouTube videos, I'll feel badass and I'll feel just very much in control of my workload and my goals and what I want to achieve, what's important and what's not. And then I will see something on social media, or I'll bump into a friend that has told me about another yoga studio opening or another retreat that's going on that I didn't know about, another Irish teacher who is doing a yoga training in Bali. All of these things that perhaps are things that I would like to do long term, or they're perhaps my long term goals, but at the moment I'm working on so many other things that initially I was really chuffed with myself with, and as soon as I hear somebody else maybe on hitting their goals or achieving things that I may not have time to do at the moment, I forget all of the progress I've made. I forget all of the goals I've hit. All of my achievements go out the window, and I'm all of a sudden comparing what I'm doing to what other people are doing. And I feel like whether you're happy with what you are doing or whether you're not happy and you're feeling overwhelmed already, comparing yourself is going to not only make yourself feel inadequate, but it's also going to double your workload, because you're going to be so distracted with what other people are doing, their journey, their goals, their milestones, and that is precious time that you are wasting on dwelling on something that is just nothing to do with you, and something that you cannot comprehend. Like, you cannot know the ins and outs of somebody else's path or somebody else's journey. You don't know whether it is a success, you don't know whether it's not a success. And unfortunately, I will admit that I can be quite a jealous person, quite a competitive person, and that jealousy and competitiveness doesn't actually make me work harder. It makes me dwell on my shortcomings or my failings, or it just distracts me from my successes. So I feel like comparing yourself is literally going to just double your workload and distract you from all of the amazing things that not only you have done, not only you are doing, but the things that you are so capable of getting done. So tip number 2, your self-talk. So again, I just feel these are so life-changing, these tips, when you're feeling overwhelmed. Self-talk is something that we all do. Just because you don't walk down the street like a crazy person saying it out loud to yourself doesn't mean that you don't self-talk. So we all tell ourselves things that may be true, may be false, but to be honest, it actually doesn't matter whether what you're telling yourself is true or false. You could be telling yourself you're the best at teaching yoga, and whether it's true or not, the fact that you believe it is going to make you embody that self-talk. So for example, let's take yoga and all of that stuff out of it. So our bodies do not have built-in lie detectors, so your body and your mind, your breath, your nervous system believes everything you tell it. So you have to be really mindful of that. If you tell yourself, I can't find my keys, I can't find my keys, you're looking everywhere, you cannot find them, your mum comes into the room, Mom, I can't find my keys, and she's like, picks them off the bookshelf that was right in front of you and it's like, here's your keys. Literally, if you tell yourself you can't find your keys, you're not going to find your keys. If you tell yourself you're in bed at home at nighttime, you're feeling a little bit scared because everything's dark and you hear something downstairs and you imagine that somebody has just come into the house and is trying to rob you, your body will physically react to that. So your heart rate will quicken up, your breath will get shallow, you'll start thinking irrationally, your body will get tense. So then you'll go downstairs and it'll be the broomstick that's fallen over or whatever. But basically what you had imagined wasn't true, but your body believed that it was, so your body physically reacted. So basically what I'm trying to explain is that whether you think something is true or false, it actually doesn't matter. You're going to affect the way you react to things, the way you think about something, your body's energy towards something. So just being really mindful of your self-talk. If you believe that you're struggling, if you believe you're overwhelmed, you're going to struggle, you're going to be overwhelmed. So it's going to physically slow you down. Believe that you're capable. Believe that you've got this. Do not use words like I'm overwhelmed. Do not stop yourself before you're texting your friend, she asks you how your day is. Try not to say, I'm having a shit day, I'm overwhelmed, or just don't feed it. Try to change your story and believe a positive story rather than a negative one. So my number 3 is an inspirational quote. Now, some of you might be a little bit skeptical about this and think it's really silly, but for me it works. I every day teach yoga except for Sundays, and I at the end of my class share a new quote. This can be maybe a mantra, it could be just a quote that I find inspiring, it could be a passage from a book, it could even be a poem, something that ignites energy in me, something that ignites a passion or an understanding of something, or a connection with others. I feel like inspirational quotes may be overused on Instagram, but they're overused, I think, because they work. And I feel like just the fact that somebody else, another human being, wrote something so positive, so motivational, makes you feel like you are capable of being that. Sorry, I just had a coughing fit. It makes you feel that you might be capable of feeling that motivated and finding something that makes you feel that passionate about something. It doesn't have to be a quote. You don't, if you're not into quotes. I feel even listening to the likes of Desert Island Discs. I love Tom Hanks' one. By the way, I'm gonna link all of these YouTube links and podcasts or whatever that I find helpful in the description box below. But I feel listening to other people who have found success, like Jim Carrey's infamous motivational speech to some university in the States, I feel when you listen to people's journey of success, there's a common theme. None of them started out immediately finding success. None of them found their success without struggle. They all have hurdles that they managed to overcome. They all hit rock bottom at some stage in their journey. And I feel just listening to those stories that you perhaps can relate to, or even make you feel a little bit more comforted or prepared for what's ahead in your journey toward your goals, can be seriously helpful, and perhaps sometimes can make your problem that you had, or your hurdle or obstacle that you're facing, feel maybe a little bit less. Tip number 4 is maybe a little bit, again, overused or common, or probably something you already know, but I definitely know it and I don't practice it enough, which is being grateful. I feel like recognizing the things that you have perhaps already achieved, the things that have gone right for you, things that have already worked out in your favor. I feel like being grateful for those things and acknowledging the things that have worked out for you and the things that you have managed to achieve just gives you a little bit more strength, and it, I feel, helps you recognize that it's worked out before and it will work out again. It makes you feel like the things that you have achieved that you perhaps before didn't think possible did work out, and that will happen again. Even if you feel like this time is the most overwhelmed I've felt, or this obstacle is the biggest obstacle I've overcome, or the biggest obstacle I've faced, it simply means it's going to be your biggest success, because you will overcome the obstacle, and if you don't overcome it to where you initially wanted to be, you'll overcome it and you'll end up somewhere even better. So my last tip is, for me, I feel a game changer. Obviously we all create lists, and sometimes lists are great, and sometimes lists can make things feel more overwhelming. So I feel definitely writing out a list of the top 3 or even 5 things that you really need to get done, like they're the most important things, and then pick the one that you most enjoy. So I feel like when you're doing something you enjoy, it's way easier to get done, it's way easier to focus, and it actually just makes you feel more in tune with yourself. It makes you feel more alive, more energetic, more positive, and these are all vital tools in getting shit done and in achieving your goals. So I feel like stick to the things that you love doing, stick to the things that make you feel joy, and then leave the crappy things until the end, because if you start with the most overwhelming thing or the most difficult thing for you, then you're going to trigger self-critical thoughts, and when you're already feeling overwhelmed, it's just going to make you feel more overwhelmed. So I feel a really good trick is to start with the things that you actually enjoy doing, even if they're not the most important thing to get done. Okay, so I really hope that these 5 tips helped you, and like I said, whether you work for yourself or whether you work for the big man, we all get overwhelmed. We all have days where we feel like the workload is never ending, you're not getting anything done, you're not achieving anything. I promise a little bit of perspective and applying these 5 tips will really help you in getting the stuff done, and not only getting the stuff done, but hopefully enjoying it while you get it done. So, by the way, I'm wearing this new hoodie from H&M men's section. I got it in a large. I bought it yesterday and it's just slick. So I'll also try and find that online, and I'll put the link in the description box. Okay, so I really hope you enjoyed that video, and I look forward to sharing more of my tips and tricks to life's everyday struggles. See ya! So not only is this video 5 tips in getting shit done when you're feeling overwhelmed, but I have a pretty amazing announcement to make. Basically, I shared a blog post on my goals for 2019. My first goal was doing a 300-hour training with Dylan Werner. He has one coming up in June in Austria, and I've been onto him for months, previously trying to get onto it before he even released it, and then when he released it, it like booked up immediately and I missed out, and I'm now on the wait list. Unfortunately, this isn't a video to tell you that I got onto Dylan's teacher training this year, but he's doing another one next year, and I'm really hoping to get on that one. My goal really, obviously I really want to do a training with Dylan, but really my main goal was to get a 300-hour training done. And the reason I wanted to do it with Dylan, because I love his teaching. I think he's just like badass and in tune with everything I want to share in yoga. And I find it hard to find other teachers who inspire me that much and who motivate me that much. And who I want to learn from. But it came up one morning. I was going into work at 5:30 in the morning. I was on Instagram, and Kat Mafan shared on her stories top teacher training that she has heard of or has completed herself. She's actually done ones with Dylan, which I'm green with envy about. But she shared that Erin Kelly and Steph are doing a training in Dublin in June, and I was like, fuck, okay, so this is my chance. I went on, it wasn't booked up, I completed the application on my dart journey into town at 5:30 in the morning on my way to work, and that night I found out that I got it. I haven't done a training since my first training or an intensive training since my first training in 2014 in Mexico with Yandara Yoga. And I've felt extremely unmotivated and uninspired in my teaching and my own practice, and this is just something I really need to do at the moment. And the fact that I was accepted just I still can't believe I'm going to be doing this training with two of the most inspiring, badass women who just have so much knowledge to share, and I am so excited to just intensively learn and soak it all up and improve my teaching and be able to share that inspiration and love of yoga with you guys. I feel like even though I could continue teaching, or I will and I can continue teaching with the knowledge that I have, it can be a little bit hard self-teaching constantly and sharing things that you've learned from online. I feel like people begin to feel a lack of inspiration or a lack of motivation, and I never want that in my teaching. I always want to inspire people to feel the deepest connection to themselves and to their yoga practice, and I feel like if I don't have that myself, I can't share it. So even the fact that I know that I'm doing this teacher training literally has that fire in my belly again, which I'm just so excited about, and I'm so chuffed that I managed to find a teacher training that not only is accessible money-wise or something I can afford, it's in Dublin. I'm so happy that I found something that resonates with me so much that the quality of the training I know is going to be good enough in my eyes to share with you, and all of my clients and the yogis that I teach and the people I introduce to yoga. I want the quality to be something that I'm proud of and that I'm passionate about, and I'm just so chuffed that I've found that here in Dublin. And it's also such an amazing feeling to hit one of my goals. I actually found this out a few weeks ago, so it was actually at the beginning of February that I achieved one of my biggest goals for 2019, to do a teacher training. Now that might not seem like a lot because it was something that I could just choose to do, but when you run a studio and you're hosting retreats non-stop, and taking time away from the studio is a sacrifice, and it's a lot of money to invest and a lot of time to invest. It's a lot of juggling and it's a lot of preparation, and it's a big decision to make, and it's not an easy thing to dedicate yourself to in such a massive way. So I'm just really delighted that the opportunity came my way, that I'm lucky enough to have the means to go through with it. And to be honest, there's a few loose threads and funds that I'm going to have to pull out of my arse somehow, but I know I want it so badly that I'm going to make it work. And yeah, I'm just so excited. So I hope you guys weren't disappointed in my news, because really it's just more so exciting for me, but excited for you guys that I get to share my training and my experience and my new yoga skills with you guys, to deepen all of our practices together. So thanks for watching again, and hopefully this video was a bit of a push for you, or a bit of inspiration for you to go get them.